Oh, we're live. That's pretty funny. I had not hit start yet, but here we are. So, hey, today's live stream is our regular QA, except right now I am at TCH, Texas Card House. I'm in Dallas. I'm out there visiting, and I've been given permission from them to do the live stream right here. So here I am, and maybe we'll have some of the staff come periodically and come answer some questions for you guys about what it's like here. Just a quick little glimpse. I'm not going to show you anybody specifically, but you guys can see, there's the room. I promised everybody that I would keep it to just me in the video you guys see. Yeah, I didn't show you a whole lot, but you get the idea. So David says, howdy, how are you? Thanks for coming. Opinion on TCH. That's a great question. So I think in general, let me fix this right here. I think in general, Chad says, hi, Mark. Hey, how's it going, Chad? Long time no talk. In general, in Texas, it's been this very interesting dynamic where, the industry has a lot of underground games, if I'm being honest. I've spent very little time in Texas, but there's been a lot of underground games, and there's this like home game feel to poker here that's a little bit different than what you see in most places. And I think that Texas Card House, their properties do a pretty good job of getting actual people from the casino industry. I know the GM here is somebody that I actually worked with and helped train him to be the dealer that he was at one point, and then he worked his way up and up and up, and now he's a GM, and it's really cool to have that relationship with somebody here. But he brings something to this particular room that I really like to see in poker, where the thing I want to say is it feels like casino poker. That said, I haven't gotten a chance to actually play here yet, and I haven't gotten a chance to actually deal here. He gave me a shirt. He told me I could deal for a little bit. I might do it after this, but I have nothing but good things to say about this room. I wish I could show it to you guys, but the players in here, I don't like the idea of showing, people who don't want to be seen, right? So I'm not going to show you specifics about the room. Let me do this, actually. I'm going to turn the camera so that I can see what I'm showing, and you guys will sort of see what it looks like without showing any of the people. So you can see, like, there's a bunch of games going on over behind there. You can see that's sort of what the room looks like. It's very nice, and it's got, right now, on a Tuesday at 1 p.m., 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games going, which is pretty good. They usually fill up most days, and, you got to be doing something right for that. And yeah, they also have some of the things that stand out to me here that are interesting that I haven't really seen a whole lot. They do match the stack for their 2-5 and up, so everyone's allowed to buy in for 1,000 in their 2-5 game, and then as soon as someone gets more money than that, anybody else can match their stack. So there might be a time where there's like 7,000 in front of somebody, and someone else can just sit down with 7,000 at a 2-5 game. And I think yesterday when I walked through here, they had like 5 of them. It might have been on Saturday, Sunday, something like that. I've been here since Saturday, and it's been really cool. Let's see. I do notice that, the dealers here are good, and the thing I'd like to see is more consistency between all of them. And, who knows, maybe I'll actually work on that with them. But they're really good people. That's something I certainly notice as well. David says, has all the snow melted? Yes, there's no snow here. I got here on Saturday. It was in the 50s, and it was very comfortable. Chad says, what are your thoughts on Rounders 2? I personally can't wait to see it. All right, so now I got to look that up, because I recently listened to Matt Damon in a podcast with Bill Simmons from about a year ago, and he was saying that they had a really good script and they wanted to do it. Hold on. Rounders 2. So it's saying this website from 2019 says Matt Damon says it won't happen. Can you put a link in there to something supporting that it's going to happen? Yeah, August 21st, 2020, Matt Damon says everyone would come back for Rounders 2, but I haven't actually heard anything about it. But yeah, I do want to remind you guys, I am here right now for you to answer any questions that you want about dealing, about anything that you feel like asking me. And I'm super happy to be, if you happen to be in TCH Dallas and you want to come over and sit here and be in camera, I'm fine with that too. It's sort of fun and funny. I would love to be able to take my mask off, but I am in this room and I don't want to create a health concern for anybody. Now, let me see. You should go check out Kojak's while you're there in Texas. All right, so let me look up what that is. Let me see. Opens at 6 p.m. it says. Tell me a little bit about them. What would make me want to go there? I think it's interesting, by the way, the way that they have it set up out in Texas in order to follow the regs is they don't take a rake on any of the tables. They don't take a jackpot either. It's basically set up so that you have to purchase time at the table. And so you're sort of paying a time rake. It's cheaper than you would have to pay in a regular poker room, but it's pretty close. It's poker. I understand that it's poker, but I'm in Texas in a poker room right now. So, like, why would I leave this one to go check them out? There has to be something about them that would be exciting, right? Here they spread a lot of 1-2 no limit, 2-5 no limit. They do a 1-3 that's a mixed game where it's sort of like a dealer's choice, and they have a system for how the dealer button moves. When a person gets to choose what game it would be, they have 2 buttons that help determine that. It's actually a pretty cool system. And then they also have like a decent amount of pot limit Omaha, and they also have some people call it Congress, some people call it Big O High Low, where you get 5 cards and it's a high low game and it's pot limit. It's been interesting seeing all that stuff out here. You know, it's like this is Texas, so you know there's that funny little vibe about it should all be Texas Hold'em. David says, do you have a favorite poker vlogger? So I recently recorded footage playing 1-3 no limit, and I'm really excited about releasing my own, but it's a ton of work to put it in. So one day hopefully I can say me, or I can say Mike Lackey, who I'm working with. Out of the people who are doing it right now, Brad Owen did a good job in really building it up for everybody. I feel like there's nobody that I absolutely love, but I have definitely watched videos by multiple poker vloggers. I've enjoyed at times Brad Owens. I've enjoyed at times Rampage Poker. I haven't really enjoyed too many others. I think I've given some of the others a chance. I think I've given Andrew Neem a chance. I don't know exactly why I wasn't as excited to watch his stuff. And I've also watched Mariano maybe, and I haven't really enjoyed that one as much either. The thing that's tough is, you know, I've been doing this live poker coaching project with a poker pro, and when I start working with him and then I hear their explanations on things, it just doesn't feel the same. And so I feel like watching poker vloggers, I also want to get myself good habits, and not all of them teach good habits all the time is really what I want to say. Chris says, do you think the push for online poker will ruin poker rooms if fully legalized in the US? No. Online poker has already come out, and it's been out for a while, and then it disappeared from the mainstream because of regulation. And in 2003, when it started to take off, it actually helped people transition from not being poker players to poker players, and the live poker rooms benefited from it a ton. That's really a lot of where the growth came from. The combination of pocket cams and tables where people could see what people were playing with, mixed with pocket cams mixed with online poker is what I think got it to expand. So people get afraid, well, the money's going to go to online instead of live. But they forget how many more poker players there are as a result of online poker. So if we can get it intelligently regulated in the US, I mean, the World Series main event, for instance, is going to be enormous as a result of that. There's so many more people that get, like, think about online poker working with live poker, right? Getting into day twos with huge fields, where people can go to a location and they know that they're going to be getting, $50K plus just for being there. So you can win packages, or you can satellite into $10,000 buy-in tournaments where you wouldn't be able to do that otherwise. it's it's I have a lot of experience with this. I used to do online poker advertising back in 2005, 2006, before the law was passed. And I really saw how much it educated people to become poker players in the first place. And just, it's great for the game, honestly. That said, nowadays online poker is it's very like systems driven. A lot of people have information that's additional to just their brain when they play. Some of that stuff it sort of systemizes it, takes some of the fun away from it. But I have recently been watching poker pros play online poker. I watch them like multi-table, as many as 12 tables at a time. Something that stands out to me that's really interesting about that is I learned that a lot of poker pros who multi-table online poker, the thing that they do is they're literally just hunting for decisions as they go from table to table, and they don't care about the story that comes after. So a poker pro will have their whatever table pop up into their screen window. They'll look at it, they'll make their decision, and then they won't care what happens after that because it's not about the result. To me, that's always been something fascinating watching them do that. I love the story of what happens after that, right? Like, as they say, I want to sweat it every single time, but it's just not how it works most of the time. For them, they just literally look at it and they make their decision and move on and don't even care. It's interesting for you to ask that question about ruining poker rooms. Yeah, it's just not how it works, though. Online poker has been a huge aid to the growth of live poker. That being said, when online poker went away, the two different times it did, first it did it July 20th, 2006, then it did it Black Friday in 2011. And both of those days, there were a lot of online players that showed up in casinos. But yeah, overall, it's a growth thing. Let's see. Ooh, I do want to show you guys what this table's like. So I'm sitting at the live stream table for THC. So Texas Card House, here, I'll show you this. And I got to be able to see it myself. So you guys can see, this is the live stream table. This is where people play the big stakes games. And they've been showing their live streams where they play like 5-10 and stuff. Showing the room a little. They've been showing that in, you can see what this is like imagine that you're here, They've been showing this on the TCH live stream channel on YouTube, and they do it in Austin, and they're going to be doing it in Dallas too. That's why we got this here. And it's pretty cool. Like, this is separated up in the room. It's on a stage almost, but it's set back, but it gives people a chance to sort of, be there and be present for the game and see what's going on with it. And you could see how like deep the table is. And I could show you guys some of this equipment they got up there. Is really cool. There's like the cameras and the lights and all this stuff going on here. They do a great job with their coverage of it. I know that Brad Owen has done a handful of sessions there. Some of these other guys have as well. I know I'm probably making you guys dizzy. Let's see. I can see that. But with the push of GTO and now the pandemic keeping people home, I wonder if more people will choose to stay home versus playing live. So again, I totally understand that. And here's how it works. When you sort of theorize these things, I've been in your seat. I've thought about this stuff for sure. I worked in the casino industry. I had to debate what I thought about online poker and how it affected my business. When you theorize it and you think about some people will want to do this, you're right. Some people will want to do this. But the reality that I've seen over and over and over again is so many people go from not playing poker to playing poker when online poker is an option, because it's much easier for someone to take on the friction of becoming an online poker player. Then they get used to the game, and then they eventually feel like they can go to casinos. So for every person that casinos lose to online poker, there are 2 people probably, and I'm making that number up, but it's my experience. There's more people who end up learning to play and that end up coming to the casinos. Like, if you get 10 times the number of players because you get all these people playing online, some of them are going to play live. And also, what happens with online poker is when you don't have a dealer and you're just trusting that the site is random, this happens over and over and over again. Poker players all the time blame it on the site, say that it's not fair, feel like it's rigged, like all these things happen. And then they still want to play poker, so they just go to a poker room where they can see the dealer dealing and shuffling and all these things, and they feel confident in that. And they get to do the thing that they love. And also, one other really important factor here is when you are playing online poker, you're only playing poker. There's no real social dynamic. When you're stuck at home a lot and it's hard, it's like right now it's even harder to go out and be social, but when you play poker in a casino, you get automatic social interaction that's just provided by the people that are all there with you. And you know, someone who's worked as a supervisor and shift manager, I've had a lot of conversations with players where they've literally admitted, like the regulars that come in, they've literally admitted that. They've admitted that they go there because they get to be social, and some of them do it to escape their lives and all that stuff, and it's hard to do that at home. So, you know, just keeping in mind the many different reasons that people play, I think, helps with that. David says, is there pocket cams? No, the way that they do this, so I appreciate you asking that. I'm going to show you this from the table's perspective. So you can see this right here. I need to take a look at what I am seeing live. All right, this little square right here is an indicator for. Hold on, let me pull this around. It's an indicator for where the cards need to go in order to be picked up by what's called RFID, radio frequency identification. So you can see that each spot has an RFID spot. And basically they have the dealer sit right here where I am. The dealer's going to have a headset. The dealer's going to announce the action to the booth behind them, and the proper actions and bet amounts and all that stuff goes up on the screen. They have people working the booth while it's going on, and then they put it on a 30-minute delay. Ooh, I'll let you listen to this. They're doing what's called a roll call right now. RA gave a thumbs up. So you guys can sort of see what it's like being in the poker room right now, right? But so each of these is RFID. It's something that's built into the table that allows the players to have their hands read, and it goes to the back. They put on a 30-minute delay, and they have announcers there too. And if you go on YouTube right now to Texas Card House, THC Live, I'm not sure what it's called. Actually, let me get the name of the channel for you guys. Let's see. Is it THC? Or I'm sorry, not THC. TCH Live. There's a Texas House of Cards here too that I feel like they could sue them for trademark, honestly. It is TCH Live. So I'll put this right in the chat. TCH Live. That's the YouTube. They might have a separate one for Dallas, but yeah, it's a really cool setup because it allows the display to show up properly. You know what? I can do this. I can show you guys what it looks like.
Marc?
Let's see. I'll do it right now. So I'm hitting play on this. Oh, it says it's going to be live in the future. I'm going to go to past videos. Here's one. And now I'm going to share this with you so you can see it.
All right, we'll be opening up at 1 through with the dealer's choice button on table number 3 for the first 8 names. R.A., Louise S., G.G., Ken W., Daniel W.
All right, you guys can sort of see it here.
And Mars. Please head over to table number 3 and lock up your seats.
Let's see.
AJ for 1, 2.
Just a sec. Almost got it. So this is the one in Austin. It's a very similar setup, almost the same thing. And yeah, you guys recognize the table now, right? This is what it would look like. This is a previously recorded video. It's not live for them in this moment, but whenever they are live, you can watch it with them. Again, it's on a 30-minute delay. They do have announcers and everything, and you can see the dealer right there. He's dealing out the cards, and he's also, as soon as there's action, he's announcing the action to the booth behind him. So seat X bets this, etc. And they sort of do it slowly and deliberately, and that way the booth is able to get it all right. It's a really good system that they have. Very impressed by it. And yeah, you can see how they have a camera person who's showing the different shots and all that stuff. And it's all done on these tables. I think that they're really smart for doing branding like this, personally. It takes a lot of intelligence in order to be able to understand where the market is going. And a lot of people in the poker industry don't necessarily understand how to stay ahead of things. They end up getting stuck behind it. David says, okay, thanks. I was watching one of them live streams and was so confused on how they know their hands because I was 99% chance there wasn't pocket cams. Correct. Yeah, it's RFID. I've actually done a project where I built an RFID table. The technology is really fun to mess around with. It was expensive at the time that I did it. This was like 5-6 years ago. The cards themselves are very, so let's see, wait, so do the cards have something special on them to be able to read? Yeah, basically is that the cards are thicker than normal and they're expensive. And normally you buy 2 decks. A setup is what it's called, where it's a deck of 2 different colors. So 2 decks, 1 of each color. Normally those are like, $14, $15, $16. However, when it comes to the RFID cards, it can be as much as $80 for 1 deck because it has actual radio chips in the cards, and they're programmed not. Let me see, each card is programmed with its own code by the person who has the RFID table. So you have to take the whole deck and program 1 card at a time. They do that so that, say someone had a reader, that way they wouldn't know what it was just from it. But also there's a lot of protection against that. But that is how Mike Postle cheated too. So, it is possible to run a crooked live stream, and that would be pretty rough. Let's see. But yeah, they're pretty cool. I mean, honestly, having RFID is great. They've done it in the WSOP for some of the televised stuff. For the, they have their TV tables for the WSOP. And RFID sort of caught on. Mike Postle set it back a little bit, but I think it's the right decision for here. You don't need whole cams when you have RFID, is the simplest way to say it. Hey Mark, Ben here, just dropping by quick. Hey, what's going on, Ben? I hope that you mean you're coming down to say hi, but I assume that that's a little bit too far. I think you said that you're about an hour north of here or so. Let me see. Is CTO crotch theory optimal? Yes, it is. So yeah, so this is really cool being at this table, feeling what it's like to sit here. It seems like, let me see, I'm just going to send a real quick text. Yeah, I'm actually really excited to go and play in one of these games over here. It looks like a great room. Looks like it's run very well. Looks like it's got great action. And I gotta say, from the little bit that I've experienced so far, the people here seem like they're really cool people. The players seem like they're good. And I say that from a dealing perspective mostly, right? Like, they don't seem to bitch as much. They don't seem to have as much negative to say. It seems like a really good group of people that are both working and playing here. And that says a lot, right? Because you're not going to see that everywhere in the country. And that's just sort of the Dallas vibe, I guess. It's probably like that in a lot of Texas, although I can't guarantee it. But that's been my vibe here. And I've been in and out of this room, sort of experiencing the room in different ways for the last 2-3 days. And it was exciting to come here and sort of be a part of this as a result of that, But yeah, what else? There was something else that you guys asked that I wanted to say more about.
Best for round of each.
Let's see. How much do they charge hourly? It's 13 an hour here, if I remember correctly. Which is very reasonable, honestly. Like, a lot of people freak out about that, but if you think about how much you're getting taken out of your own pocket by the rake, it's more than this. That's for sure. I remember a very long time ago, probably like 16, 17 years ago, they were taking 7 per half hour. Or it was 6 per half hour per player at Foxwoods. And yeah, if you do the math on the amount of money that you're paying out of pocket for the hourly, you're doing way better with the hourly, honestly. You do also have to get a membership. This is all, by the way, the reason that they do the hourly here instead of rake is it's completely because of what the regulations require in Texas. In order for them to operate, they need to do that, basically. So I'm just looking around here. I'm seeing they're opening a game. There's people that are sitting down. They use Poker Atlas here too, which is really nice. It's great software. It's nice to see a healthy competition between Bravo and something else. Definitely a good thing. And yeah, so what else? What else do you guys want to know? Let's see. But yeah, having no rake, it also helps because the dealer doesn't have to. It's easier to deal here without rake. Honestly, you just don't have as much that you have to worry about constantly. In shows like the big game where the game is higher stakes, how does the rake go? I don't know what you mean by the big game. Are you saying that that's an actual show? I'm noticing that my mask keeps popping up. I've got all this hair on my chin. Oh, that's a movie. I guess I've never seen it. The way that it works in a place like this is they pretty much just charge everybody when they sit down at the table. They get swiped into the table. Let's see. I can move if needed. Apparently the owner is here right now and possibly wants to set up over here, which is sort of funny. Yeah, generally speaking, you don't charge big games that much more if it's in a poker room anyway. Maybe like you'll go from $8 per player per half hour for a regular time rake up to like $10 at the most. I think 9 is the most that I've seen, and that's per half hour, right? So if you're normally you pay when you have a time rake, that gets taken every dealer. Every dealer comes every 30 minutes. So if every player is paying even $9, that's $18 an hour. If it's $8, which is more common, it's $16 an hour. So it is cheaper here. It's possible that this game right here will be more like 17 an hour instead of 13. I don't know if that's what they would do, but they have all this staff they have to pay in order to run this game. So it makes sense to me to charge more for this game. Also, the stakes are going to be higher. They say that they sometimes get 10.25 here as well. So the one that they have is mostly like 5.10 and 5.5 over in Austin where they do live stream. They might get real big games over here in Dallas, just because it seems to be a pretty busy room. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the things about poker that's beautiful, right? In big casinos, if they get a very big game, such as 100, 200 no limit or pot limit or something like that, which you see, they know that it's worth bringing that game in, and they know that all they need to do is charge them an essentially a regular amount, which would be something like have the table take home, well, it would be something like 16 to 18 an hour per person. They know that those people will then go and spend money elsewhere in the casino, so it doesn't really matter to them how big the game is at the end of the day. Casinos do really well by having a lot of people with money come in, right? How many poker players do you know that come and play poker somewhere, and when they win, they go and they play table games or something like that, right? It's not none. A lot of poker players avoid it, like the Dickens, but some of them go do it, which is great. Let's see. Looks like they didn't want to put the live stream on in the background.
QT, would you like to transfer?
But
Table 11.
So what else do you guys want to know? Yeah, this would have been cool if I had sat down and played a little bit the day before. I've watched the dealers here a pretty good amount. and they all seem to be reliable, and they all seem to be friendly, and the players seem to like it here. Isaac says, "Hi, how you doing? How do side pots work on the poker table?" So I appreciate that question. It is a relatively complicated full explanation, but I'll give you the short version. And if you want to learn how to do them really, really well, I have put out an entire course on how to deal Texas Hold'em that you can get right on Truepokerdealer.com, or you could just join my YouTube channel. And that will allow you to watch exactly how to do all the procedure for side pots. But basically the short answer is, when you play No Limit Texas Hold'em or Limit Texas Hold'em, it's the same thing. You're only entitled to win an amount of money that you put into the pot that everyone else matches. And so if you have $100 left and you go all in for $100, everybody else that's in the hand, if they have $100 or more, you can only win 100 from them, and then all of that money goes into the main pot. If there's not already side pots, let's just assume that you're the first one to go all in the hand, and then you're only eligible to win that money in that main pot. Any other betting that's done between them above $100, that's a side pot, and all that money goes into a separate pot. And then if another person goes all in, then they're only allowed to win an amount equal to the amount they went all in for. And so then there could be additional side pots. So basically that's the premise here. The premise is the side pots come when one person goes all in and they can't match the additional money that other people are betting. And it continues like that. David says, favorite and least favorite table game. So I have two perspectives for table games. I'm going to be clear here. I'm not counting poker in table games. I'm counting regular casino, what's sometimes called carnival games, as table games, and blackjack and all that stuff. Isaac says, thank you. You're welcome. So I have two perspectives because I both dealt and played table games at times. In terms of dealing table games, I really personally enjoy dealing craps. I don't know if you even call that a table game, but I find that game to be it's challenging, but in a good way to deal. There's a lot going on. It's engaging. I sort of don't like the salesiness that a dealer has to do. It's like an entertainment job more so than anything else in a lot of cases, but also keeping up with it. But I don't hate it either. You know, it's like someone will come up to the table and not know how to play. And the thing that gets them to play a lot of the times, especially at a craps table, is a dealer who makes them laugh and feel like it's going to be a fun experience. And I was just learning how to do that on a craps table. Each type of game has its own like vibe for that. And you sort of have to be experienced in order to carry that vibe properly. I personally always liked dealing Pai Gow poker as well. And to a degree, I like dealing Ultimate Texas Hold'em. And I didn't really like dealing blackjack that much because it was incredibly repetitive. Spanish 21, I had a similar feeling for. I loved dealing mini baccarat because as a table games dealer, you do not get to sit down very much, and you get to sit down at mini baccarat. It's one of my favorite things about dealing poker is you get to sit. What else was there? As a player, I guess the first thing I'll say is table games to me is something that you're going to lose at in the long run. You know, the way I look at it is every time I bet a dollar, I imagine that 2 to 5 cents of that dollar, depending on what game I'm playing, is just going to disappear as soon as I bet it. The fact that I can win money is true, but it's a house advantage game for just about every table game, and so that's literally how I look at it personally. The poker player in me does not allow myself not to do that, right? The poker player in me forces me to look at table games that way. So in terms of playing games and having fun, I always enjoy Fortune Pai Gow because there's that chance of a huge score. I don't love playing craps, honestly, because like if you get on a good roll, it's great, but it happens infrequently. It doesn't happen. You don't win half the time, or 40-something% of the time. So big rolls are the best if you can get on it, but it's also so stressing because you just lose everything that's on the table all at once for any given roll. And then there's all this superstition and stuff like that. I started to enjoy 3-card poker a little bit when they added the 5-card bonus, or the 5-card bet. I'm not sure what it's called. I've done it before though. But yeah, Pai Gow Fortune is probably the thing I like the most. And then I liked Ultimate sometimes. It's always hard sitting in an Ultimate Texas Hold'em table as a player and watching people bet, like, they get aces and they might check the flop instead of betting 4 times their bet like they're allowed to. Or they might bet 3 times their bet, which is one of the options that they're allowed because they don't want to risk as much with aces. And you're just like, you're costing yourself money in the long run. These are your opportunities, is how I think about it. But yeah, that's sort of how I feel about it. As a poker dealer, my favorite game to deal is probably Pot Limit Omaha, just because it's interesting and fun and a little bit more engaging, and not quite as repetitive as Texas Hold'em, as No Limit. But at the same time, I don't mind dealing No Limit at all. And then my favorite one to play is still No Limit Texas Hold'em, like 2-5 and up, or tournaments, just because I'm still learning. I mean, there's a lifetime of learning that goes on with these games, and it still feels good to learn to be better at it. And I haven't learned to be a profitable pot limit player yet, so that's sort of where I'm at with that. But yeah, it's really cool being out here right now. The weather in Texas, I don't know if I got asked the question about the weather there, and I think I forgot to answer it. It is 75 today. It's like really hot out. This is a week after it had record freezing cold, and there were power outages because the power matrix couldn't keep up with it. Apparently it happens once every 30 years. So once every 3 decades, this happens in Texas. It was pretty sad, though. The people had a lot to deal with during that time. But yeah, it's nice and toasty out now. Although I find, I've been living in South Florida for a long time. So coming out here and seeing in the morning it's 40 degrees, and then it hits like 79, 80 at noon in February is wild. Like, trying to get a wardrobe to prepare for that has been pretty interesting and challenging. Let's see. Easiest way to configure the pot-sized bet. Let's see. The general formula. So I have a bonus mix game course that anybody can join my channel to get the bonus mix game course, and I have an entire video on calculating pot and pot limit with a lot of different scenarios and examples, and it really goes into it. And if you watch that video, you get everything you need in order to be able to deal pot limit Omaha accurately. That being said, the short answer for the pot size bet, yeah. The short answer for how to calculate the pot and PLO is you start with the previous bet. You go 3 times the previous bet. So if you're the first one to bet, it would be 0, right? But it's whoever bet just now when it's your turn. 3 times the previous bet plus the trail, which the trail represents other bets before it, right? So let's say that somebody bet 20, somebody called. In that case, it's going to be the $20 call is the previous bet, and you're going to go 3 times the previous bet of 20 is 60, plus the trail, which would be the 20 before it, plus the pot, and then plus any like all in for less or anything like that. So that's going to be your answer. And there's a bunch of little things that get confusing about it, which is why I made that video. But like, say that you're at home and you're trying to figure out how to calculate the pot. That's your best way to do it. 3 times the previous bet plus the trail. Trail does not count what's in front of the active player. So if you've already, if it's pre-flop and you limp for 5, then you're playing 5-5 PLO. You limp for 5, and then someone behind you raises pot, and it comes back around to you. That $5 in front of you does not count as the trail, right? But yeah, so it's 3 times the previous bet plus the trail plus the pot, and then you get your answer. Then that's how much a person bets. Let's see, I'm just checking something for a second. I'm just watching them. They open another table. They do great here. It's really cool to see. For anyone who hasn't used Poker Atlas, you are able to sign up on Poker Atlas from your phone. It's one of the cool things about the app, and people seem to use it here a lot. It's pretty nice. I'm just watching all the interaction of everyone. Can you guys? I'm curious. Can you guys hear the chips and stuff in the background? You able to hear all that? I could probably turn this on, make it a little cleaner. You can probably hear it better now, right? All the chips in action and everything. I'm gonna still turn it off though and just go one directional. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun being in a poker room. I feel pretty distracted though, if I'm being honest. Like, you guys are asking me questions and I'm distracted by the mask. I'm distracted by the people walking around. I want to make sure that, and I'm also, whenever I'm in a poker room, my employee mind turns on, right? Like my shift manager mind turns on. Are things running smoothly? Are all the guests getting attention? I can't turn it off. It's literally something I've had for years. Favorite chips at casinos and for home games? Cool question. So I've always liked the Paulson type of chip. Paulson is a company that, they sort of got it going with this like super clean, high quality chip. I remember using these types of chips as a player back at Foxwoods when I first started there. They were very nice feeling. It's the only way I can describe it. And they're expensive, and you get them through a company called Gaming Partners International now. And boy, they do a great job when companies get them. But nowadays, all these different versions of chips have gotten pretty solid. So I like 10 years ago, I would go into different casinos, and some of the chip sets that they use, I'd just be like, ugh. I experience that way less now than I used to. And I give a lot of credit to the poker room managers for adjusting over time and improving their quality. The chips here are not Paulson, for instance, but they're nice, and it's doable for that nowadays. My favorite home chips, I still don't have a great answer for this. I am literally waiting for some company to come around and give me this like perfect chip for home games that I promote through Truepokerdealer. I would totally do that if somebody came around and did it at a reasonable price too, right? Because people in home games, they don't want to spend an insane amount of money for a chip set. I haven't found it yet. Alejandro says, "Hey Mark, I'm back." Hey, how's it going? I appreciate that announcement. But yeah, I promise you, once it's gonna happen when I find some home game chips, and maybe what I'll just do is I'll have to work with a vendor and brand them Truepokerdealer and create the right sets for everybody to be able to use at home, and then start selling them, because I love how many options there are out there, but I also hate how there's a drop-off in quality between casino chips and home game chips. It really bugs me, and it's just something that, got to get figured out. Man, it'd be fun to be playing at a table and doing this live stream, right? And show you guys my hands as I'm going and all that. I'd really like that. I think that's what's hard to be here about too. It's like, I just want to be either working or playing if I'm in a poker room. I have that feeling very strong. What do you guys think about some of the poker vloggers? I got asked a question earlier. Who's your favorite poker vlogger that's out there, and why? I'm curious. If you could say in the comments who you guys like as your favorite poker vlogger, I'd be really excited to read what you like about them and everything. Very curious about that. Also, I have a sample poker vlog that I'd love for you guys to see and tell me what you think. Where is it? I'm going to share it in the chat. I'm going to send a link and share it in the chat for a sample poker vlog. And you guys tell me if you like it. This is not a full video. It is not going to look like this at the end. It was our first shot at this. I did all the video footage, and we got a lot to learn here, but curious. Yeah, I'm curious if you guys like it. Oh, it's not letting me put this in. Interesting. There it is. Let's see. David says, I've seen people that collect casino chips. Is taking home chips frowned upon? No, the casinos love when you take home chips. Think of it this way. If they spend $1 per chip and you take one of their dollar chips, they break even. If you take one of their $5 chips, they make $4. or at least they're borrowing, $4 from you. If you take one of their $25 chips, then you're basically lending them $25 for them to use on whatever they want. They make a lot of money by people taking chips home, and they are very happy for you to do that. The amount of money that they get as a result of holding on to your money, if they're intelligent about it, is substantially strong, and it's something that I think is underrated in casinos that people don't think about that much. It's like its own business, essentially. Let's see. The video that I shared, by the way, is something that's going to be on Live Poker Coaching. I'm going to have my own version of it. I did the editing on it, and that's Michael Lockey, Poker Pro Michael Lockey's voice that you hear there. And I was playing against him in this hand. We both recorded whole cam footage as well. So at some point, you're going to see what I had in this hand that I shared, and you'll see it from my perspective. And, I'm embarrassed for when that day comes, based on what I was calling him with. But, it is what it is. I had a winning session that day, so I feel okay about that. I got asked the question. I missed it. Probably answered this question before, but is it hard to get a job as a poker dealer in Texas nowadays? I mean, look, you always have to be good enough to get a job in a marketplace. I think it's a little easier to get a poker dealing job in Texas because there are fewer professional dealers around here. That said, they still have a standard, right? You still have to know what you're doing. But I know that there are probably about 6 to 8 dealers in here that learned through my online course on Truepokerdealer. Part of the reason I'm here today is to talk to them and just, they were nice enough to buy my course, and it paid off for them. And so I just wanted to say hi, give them an opportunity to chat with me about it. I would love to do some work with the dealers here and do some training for new dealers out in Texas, because honestly, it's pretty hard to find a good instructor out here, and it's obviously something I have a lot of experience with. But that being said, if you were to take my course and put the work in for 8 weeks, you'd have an edge against a lot of people in Texas, because there's a lot of bad habits mechanically out here because of underground games that have been going on for a while. A lot of the people that try to get jobs in a legitimate poker room have been dealing underground for a long time. Let's see. David says, I've seen people that collect... Oh, right. No, I already answered that one. Alejandro says, what is your opinion on the online gaming? Seems like more virtual experiences will be available. Yeah, I mentioned this at the beginning of the live stream. I'll say it again. Online poker is absolutely great for live casinos. It creates a much larger player pool because people can learn to become comfortable playing poker, and they can learn the game from the comfort of their home. And then you can't replace the social interaction that you get in a casino by playing online. So people still want to come in, and then there's also the vibe where people get scared that when they lose a bunch, they start to blame it on the site and say it's not random and stuff like this, and they get paranoid. And when you're in a casino, you don't feel that way. There's a lot of stuff like that. Let's see. David says probably Rampage, but could be a bad influence for new players. I like Rampage. I think that he puts together great vlogs because they're entertaining. He also gives people a lot of bad habits. I read a thing that he wrote. I was interested in this because it's an interesting concept in general. Let me find this. He apparently recorded at Mohegan Sun, and he put this on his YouTube a couple days ago. It says, it's come to my attention that my recently uploaded videos from the Mohegan Sun Poker Room in Connecticut has resulted in a room-wide ban of phone usage sitting at the table on the felt. This ban and new rule came as a reaction after the first Mohegan video was uploaded last week. I sincerely apologize for the huge inconvenience my actions caused to the player pool here in New England. Even worse, I saw a comment, if any additional footage comes out, the dealers responsible for letting it happen will be terminated immediately. And then he goes on to do some more apology stuff and all that. I mean, I still think he should release the footage personally. I think that poker vlogging is great for everybody, and I think it's pretty wild that Mohegan Sun doesn't understand the value of every single time someone watches their video, they get advertised to for Mohegan Sun. But I also haven't watched his footage to evaluate whether or not they had good reason for wanting to shut it down. So, I can't say for sure that I'm right about that opinion. But he's a very good storyteller, and Brad Owens is too, and that's why I like the two of these guys. They're good storytellers from their perspective. They slow down when you're watching the hand, and Brad Owens does it kind of quickly, but I still think it's a good pace. Some people say it's too fast. But they basically give you their perspective and their thought process all the way through. The sample that I gave you is with a poker pro, which is different than these guys. Poker vloggers are generally not poker pros. Even if you're able to make money in the long term at poker, there is a difference between a poker pro and a poker vlogger on almost every level. That said, I believe Brad Owens is a better poker player than me, but I'm not claiming to be a poker pro. So when you watch these things, if you're trying to learn the game and how to approach it, it's really dangerous to watch it and try to learn it from the poker vloggers that are out there. Like if you learn it from some of these guys, what their hand is, they do talk about some possibilities. They do talk about some ranging, but some of their decision making is very questionable. Let's see. Wendy says, hi. Are you teaching now? Yes, I teach constantly. I'm doing some consulting with a room that's opening in Virginia, and I'm helping teach them. I also have my course online where people can learn how to deal, and then I do one-on-one sessions with people that are requesting it of me. So, anytime somebody wants additional instruction beyond my course, they're very easily able to schedule something with me if you just reach out to me. Lil Venice says, thank you for the answer, Mark. You're welcome. David says, opinion on phones at the table. Basically, I used to work in the industry during the years. So the smartphone came out, the iPhone came out in 2007. I was working in casinos starting in 2007. When I was working there, before the iPhone came out, there was this really strong push for no electricity or no electronics at the table because people could potentially cheat, etc. I understand that. Eventually what happened though was every player ended up with a smartphone, and it became this real point of contention for poker rooms to not allow phones at the table. And it was this thing where they were all killing this ant with a sledgehammer is the metaphor I like to use. Like they're saying you can't do it because you could be cheating, and it's like, well, I'm not cheating. And then it sort of turned into phones up on the table are okay as long as you're not interacting with it. I personally prefer an approach where players are instructed to not interact with their phone while the action's going on. While they are in action, while they have cards. I like that approach better. I think that that's healthy for the game. It is very difficult to enforce. There are some parts of the country where the poker player and the culture in general in that part of the country is a lot more accommodating to rules. There's other places like in Florida where people do not care about your stupid rules at your stupid poker room is how it sort of comes across. So I would say understanding the geography and the culture of an individual area makes a difference too for what you're going to allow. The bottom line is it doesn't matter how it affects the business. When everybody wants to do something, you have to figure out how to make it okay. That's my opinion. And there's been a very strong push in the poker industry in order to get to the point where you can do that and make it so that phones can be on the table. So that being said, it's really difficult to support what Mohegan Sun's doing by shutting down phone use at the table and putting it on the dealers and all this stuff. Like, it's 2021. You don't need to go against the grain this much and make it seem like technology at a poker table doesn't have a place or any of that stuff. Like, it's not that hard to monitor cheating separately from like as a case by case. It can be managed, especially because surveillance coverage has gotten so good. You can actually zoom in and see exactly what's on somebody's phone if you need to in surveillance. So that's my opinion. Milan says, Ninja, what did you do to Mark? I have to wear a mask. I'm at TCH in Dallas, Texas Card House in Dallas. So in order for me to be here, I have to have a mask on. Plus, it says Truepokerdealer right on it. You can see that it's me, silly. Let's see. David says, it is a great marketing for the casinos now. Almost everyone in the poker community knows what Boston Billiards is nowadays. Absolutely. That is an excellent example. So, for those that don't know, Rampage Poker frequents Boston Billiards, and it has given them a lot of attention. It has made the money. Mohegan Sun would receive the same thing if they were to regularly receive that. It's just true. So, yeah, I mean, I know for sure that when Brad Owens and Andrew Neem go to a poker room in a pre-announced visit, they literally bring as many as like 15 to 20 tables. And they set up a deal with the poker room. And then the thing that happens after that, once they go to that poker room, and they did this in Maryland, for example, once they go to that poker room, all these players that showed up to play with these poker vloggers that have announced on their social media that they're coming, they show up to play with them, and then they become familiar with the room, and the business of that room goes up because these players come back the next day and the day after that, or they come back next week or something. They end up with more tables after that one day, so they get all these extra games that one day that the poker vloggers have a scheduled visit to their room, and then on top of that, they get all this extra business from the people that have been introduced to their room that hadn't been playing there before. And it's just such a great business model. Instead of giving away money with high hands where you're taking a loss every single time, like you're still paying these guys a decent amount, but it's just such a good business model. It really is. Let's see. PK says, I play online and I want to move to live, but I don't know a lot about handling chips and some more. Do you suggest that I should ask a dealer to help me? So that's a great question, and this is exactly the thing that I'm talking about with online poker. Thank you for proving my point. That's really cool that happened. Online poker leads to more live poker players because the friction of learning the game is gone, and it's just a question of the friction of being comfortable making your actions at the table. So the answer is start out with 1-2 no limit, or even a low limit game like 2-4 limit. Start out with that, go to the table, and you can observe. They let you watch the table for a little bit. Since you understand the game of poker, I believe that pretty soon you're going to sort of get it. You can absolutely ask the dealer what to do anytime you want in terms of how to put chips into the pot, in terms of, you can't ask them how to play. You can't ask them for advice. You can't show your cards or anything like that. You can't talk about the board. But you find some of that stuff out as you go, and people are pretty helpful. The players are going to tell you if you don't know something. The dealer's going to tell you. But absolutely, yes. Ask the dealer anything that you know. Handling the chips gets so much easier the more that you do it. Ultimately, it's a really fun experience being there and getting your cards. They might have to teach you how to look at your cards. But all of that stuff is completely something that the dealer will help you with. Like if I was the dealer at a poker room and a player came down, which I've had this happen many times, and they didn't really know how to play, I'm gonna tell them, okay, it's your turn. So the first thing that happens, I'll tell them when it's their turn. Now you would know this because you play online, so you know that part of it. But I would tell them, right, it's your turn. I swear, I've had lots of people that don't have any idea what's going on. They just want to try poker, right? It's your turn. You can fold, you can call, or you can raise. And I would give them some of the info behind that. I have to give them all their options. I can't give them one or two options. This is info for a dealer. If you're a dealer, someone asks about their option, you have to give them all their options. That way you don't influence them. But yeah, it would be fold, call, or raise. And you would, like if they push their bet out, this happens a lot, right? Somebody will do something like this. So let's say that this is the betting line right here. They'll bet like here, and I'll say, oh, please push the bets out to here. So as a dealer, I just tell them exactly where to put it, and then they learn that, and then they do it every time after that. And it's really painless, and it's really simple, and you sort of get the hang of it as a player pretty quickly because the dealer's sort of guiding you for where to go. This is what running your game means. It means helping identify what to do and how to do it so that it's comfortable for everybody. Let's see. Alfie. Hey, Alfie, what's going on? Oh, nice. You're at TCH. That's like 20 minutes away. Lock me up at 2-5 seat. Be there in an hour. If you come in an hour, I'll still be here. I don't know if I'll still be live streaming, but I'm going to hang out until about 5 o'clock or so today. I want to play here a little bit. I might actually deal a table or two just to have some fun. Keep my skills fresh and experience what it's like to deal in a room like TCH and see what the players are like and stuff. So yeah, if you come here, maybe I'll sit down and open a table up that you play at. That would be sort of funny. I don't deal in casinos that much anymore, but there was one point when I dealt at the Hard Rock in 2016. I had been a supervisor / shift manager for 7 years, and I sat down and it all came back within an hour. Like, it's fun, it's fine. I do miss dealing sometimes too. You know, it would be fun to deal a spot here. Let's see.
Tommy Ferretti.
I think you can lock up a 2-5 seat using the Poker Atlas app, right? Let's see. Alfie, I'm curious. Are you actually coming? Because if you are coming, I'll definitely say hi. Let's see. I want to see what this name says. The Red Unicorn. Are you only one who teaches poker dealing? Do you have kind of coworkers? It is just me as the instructor for Truepokerdealer, although, you know, there have been times where people have helped me in different circumstances, but I'm the one in the course. I'm the one that's teaching everything. And I mean, like, in order to create Truepokerdealer, I had to have help. I had to have help from my good friend Jerry, who also worked in casinos, and he's a retired photographer. So, you know, he had all kinds of great people that he photographed, like Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali. Like, it's really cool going to his house because you get to see a lot of that stuff. But like setting up the lighting and all that stuff for some of those videos was really challenging, especially back in 2011 when we started it. You know, a lot's changed now, made it a lot easier with iPhones and stuff. But in terms of actually teaching, yeah, I do pretty much all the teaching. You know, I have guest people on sometimes for interviews. One of my lessons in the course, I have a supervisor that I trained comes on, and he's still supervising. And he talks in the how to make a floor call and, you know, how to interact with the floor video in the lessons. Yeah. Let's see. Alejandro says buying some chips to play at home helps out to handle chips. Yeah, that's very true. You know, something you could always do is you can go to your local casino. I tell people this all the time. Go to your local casino. If you take $100 and you buy $100 in $1 chips, you've spent $100. You get $1 chips. And you can practice with the chips, and then when you're done with them, you bring them back and you get your $100 back. So you essentially are doing it just by letting them borrow your $100. There's no better deal than that, and you get casino quality chips to practice with. That's definitely something I recommend. Or you can just get a set on Amazon or something like that. Boy, I was gonna say eBay, and apparently my brain was back like 10 years ago. PK, I have bought some chips, but I am very uncomfortable with counting the pot and the big blinds. So I totally understand that, and it's just one of those things where you get used to it. Like, the more you do something, the more you get used to it. If you go to a casino, I don't have any chips in front of me here. I didn't want to like have live chips at this room, although I could go buy some, I suppose. Let me see. Yeah, let me go buy some chips and then just come back, all right? I'll be right back. I'm going to go buy some. Oh, wait. I can't. I'd have to go to the ATM. It would be too much. I thought I had cash on me, but I realized that I don't anymore. So forget that. But, yeah, it's like watch what other people do. That's the simplest way to say it. Watch what other people do. It's going to make it real easy for you to learn. You can literally, if you felt more comfortable, you go to a poker room and just watch for a little bit. It's not a problem. You know, obviously don't interact with the table. Don't say anything while you're watching. Or you could ask you can just grab chips. I appreciate that. Let me see. Well, now I have to see exactly what's being said to me. All right, fine. I'll be right back. I'm going to get some chips.
Jonathan M. for 1-2.
So they were watching me here and they wanted to be accommodating, so chips real quick, and had to do some quick paperwork and got it over here. So, you know, I've got right here, let me make it so I can see what I'm doing a little better. This is 120, right? So I'm gonna do it like a dealer. This isn't what you do as a player, of course, but you can see these are nice chips, by the way. This is the first time I've actually felt them. These are the TCH Dallas chips. It says right on there. Here, I'll let you see. And they look pretty nice, right? I mean, sometimes people want poker chips to be incredibly fancy. There's no need for that, though. Like, they just got to get the job done. And these ones feel pretty clean. Oh, I should aim the camera down a little bit here so you can see better. So, all right. Let's say that you're going to make a bet. I'll give you some examples of how to bet as a player so that you can kind of see what to do. So, if you're going to call, say you're playing, well, say you're going to play 1-2 no limit. All right, this would be the $2 big blind. So you just put $2 out, and you want to put it out in front of you. Let's here, and we'll make it so that you can see. I'll get this out of the way, and I'll pull this over here as I'm playing over here, and I'll pull this over here, so you guys can see what it's like for me over here. All right, you don't need that in the shot. So. If I'm going to put out my big blind in a 1-2 game, just like that, over the line, the closer to the dealer, the better, honestly. And we'll say that I'm playing in this seat right here. This is how this table's set up. So that's where I would put it. Then the dealer can reach it easily. It's clear to everybody that it's out there. This is a $2 bet. If I'm going to put out $5, I just throw a red chip like that. If I'm going to bet 20, I just take 4 red chips and I put them down like that. If I want, I can splash them, but never splash unless you have to. If I want to bet 30, so I'm used to the fact that it's 6 chips, so I just pick it up and drop it there. But if you needed to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? You can just do that. Or you can go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And then the next time that you do it, it's going to be easier. But that's how you bet. And the dealer would take it and break it down like that. You don't even have to worry about doing that. Now, what if I don't have any $1 chips? And it's $2 to me? Well, I just throw a red chip out. The dealer will handle everything. I don't have to worry about it. So if it's $3 to me and I can throw what's called an oversized chip. No problem. The dealer handles it completely. The dealer, what'll happen is when it's time to bring all the bets in, the dealer's going to be over here and they're going to either take your chip, make change for it, and then give you 2 back if it's 1-3 no limit, and they put that in their bank. Or maybe they will just take someone else's, like there might be a $3 call there and your red chip right here, and they would, when they pull this bet in, they would throw you $2 change, and then they have 6 that they're supposed to. And you'll see how that stuff works pretty quickly when you go play. All I'm trying to say is it's not that intimidating. You can certainly do it if you want, and you can have fun with it. I like the way these chips feel. You know, it's a new room. They've only been open for a few months here, so it's possible that they're just brand new chips. I don't know if you can hear me. It's possible that they're just brand new chips, but and that's what makes them feel great. But they do feel great. They're very easy to deal with. Let's see. Sorry, I'm finding where I was here. Alfie says, yeah, I'm coming. I haven't played there, so I don't have an account. You should be able to get in, probably from the time you walk in, you should be able to get into the room and have an account and all that stuff within about maybe 5 minutes at the most. I don't imagine it's going to take that long or be that difficult. That's really cool. I'm excited to meet you. Let's see. David says Tiger Woods just got into a major car crash. Oh boy. I'm gonna look that up. 20. It's like an hour ago, huh? Multiple leg injuries. In surgery after a vehicle rolls over and crashed. Oh, that's sad. He worked really hard to be able to come back and perform again. This is gonna set him back. It's quite a tough thing to deal with. Never wish that on anybody. Well, if you guys are interested in that, you can certainly read about it. There's a bunch of articles coming out now about Tiger Woods getting injured. Patrick says, oh, nice, man. You actually came to Dallas. Oh, yeah, that's right. I hope to see you there at TCH. What time are you staying until? My guess is I'll be here until about 5 o'clock. It's possible I'll be here a little later. I'm hoping to play a little bit. It's possible that I'll deal a table or two just for fun. I'm also going to sort of hang around and interact with some of the staff, which will be fun. But yeah, come say hi. Why not? Let's see. Vic says, "What's up, man? I love that place." Oh, great. Yeah, it's really nice here. I mean, this is a really clean-looking room. It's got the right amount of space. It's got the right amount of tables. It's pretty on point. I mean, the only thing I'd like to see here that's not here, me personally, I'd love for this to be 50 tables. I think they could run some really cool tournaments like that. But, I mean, they still run really cool tournaments, so it's a good thing overall for sure. Albie says, he said 5-ish. I'm headed up there in a bit. Want to get a game going? I mean, possibly is the answer. Let's see. Can you show us your pitch? I don't know if I can get some cards, but I can find out if I can grab some cards. Give me a sec. I don't want to leave these chips here. I'm going to return these chips, actually. So, yeah, let me see if I can get some cards to do that. I can't guarantee it. I'm going to give it a shot. All right, how would we set this up? So I was able to get some cards. There we go. I'm gonna put this down here. I'm gonna clear out this table a little bit. Put my water down, my phone down. How would it make sense to set this up? I'll go like this with it, so you guys can sort of watch. I've got some electronics here, make it a little bit challenging, but I think it's okay. Let's see. Maybe it's sort of bright this way, but it works, right? Need to get this a little lower. That looks good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. You guys can see all the electronics and stuff. Is what it is, right? If I got a mic and stuff, I gotta have electronics to work with it. All right, so now just so you guys know, before I do this, you always want to verify the deck, right? So I'm gonna look and see that every single card's here, because I would not want to start this going through this procedure. And just for you guys, I'm gonna have to suit this deck at the end too. All right. So now you guys want to see the pitch. All right. This is what you would do. By the way, I teach this in the shuffle video to do a full wash. This is really only for anytime you get a suited deck. And if this were a real game, I would actually be verifying the back of every card to make sure there were no marks on it. But I'm going to wash the cards here. Ooh, they sort of fall underneath this thing. It's okay, though. This isn't finished being built yet. They're still building the rest of this table. So it sort of is what it is there. Now, I don't have a cut card, but that's okay. So I'll shuffle this so you guys can see the full steps. Also, it's fun to sort of experience what their felt's like, because I haven't done this here before. And here we go. And then I would cut it. And then I would just pitch out to the players here, just like this. So this is a pretty big table. You guys can sort of see it. And I haven't pitched on a table this size in a while, but that's pretty much how it looks. I'll keep going around the table for fun. And if I'm trying to go speed, I might get my arms out there a little bit since I'm new. I haven't done this in a while, not new. You know what I mean. There they go. Now I gotta clean it up. But hopefully that gave you what you wanted. Thank you for that question. they get all these cards back. This table's a little dusty. They gotta, before they use it live, they're gonna probably lint roll it. It's really nice though. Get all this back here. Get you guys back so you can see me again. Hopefully don't lose anything this time. I will say, if you're learning to be a dealer, being in Texas is probably a good place. I know there's a lot of expansion out here. Whew. Let's see what other people have said. Patrick said, damn, I don't get off work until 5 or so. Maybe some other day. Enjoy your stay in Texas. Appreciate it. PK says, how much do I have to tip the dealer? There's no have to amount. I mean, it's an appreciated question that you ask, but it's not exactly how it works. The real answer is whatever you want. That being said, let me adjust this a little bit. That's better, I think. I know, it sort of narrowed it. Yeah, well. Let's get it back, see how it looks. All right, that's better. Yeah, the answer is whatever you want. You know, I like to say for any pot that gets to a flop or further, $1 is really appreciated. For any pot that gets to be like bigger, you can choose to give a little bit more, but if you give $1 any hand, honestly the dealer's going to be appreciative. There are some dealers that don't necessarily feel that way, but for the most part that's the truth. You know, if you win a huge pot, you give the dealer $20, they're going to be super appreciative. It is what it is, you know. The most I've ever received as a tip is $100 multiple times. And I was always obviously really appreciative for those. Hey Mark, glad to catch a live stream. Hey, what's going on? PK says we can't see very well. I assume you're talking about the pitch. Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't plan on like setting up from the side angle or anything like that, so that was a bit of a challenge. You know, doing a lot of this work on the fly without my equipment is also tough. It was really nice of them here to sort of help me out and figure it out for me. Okay, so now I'm going to suit this deck. I'm going to start to wind it down now. Usually I like to keep these to about an hour and a half, and I'd like to spend some time interacting with people here today. So I feel good about winding it down a bit. And if there's any last questions, comments, that's great. I will be here until 5 p.m. today. Possibly later, but that's all I'm guaranteeing. So if I see anybody, I see you, and that'll be fun. Maybe I'll play with you, maybe not, we'll see. In terms of suiting a deck, I'll let you guys sort of watch this for fun. I've shown this a handful of times, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the diamonds and clubs, put them in my hand, hearts and spades go on the table. Just like this. You sort of get used to seeing this. Why am I doing that? Well, you will see in a second. Being able to suit a deck in a minute or less is respectable, in my opinion. So the next thing we do, we take all the diamonds and clubs and spread them, and then we start pulling from the king of diamonds. King's on the bottom. Every other card after that goes up. And this way it just sort of, they all end up in the right order. And hey, it's one of my hairs made it. It's weird that I have long hair now. It's weird to me anyway. So yeah, any last questions, I'll answer them. And if I'm done suiting the deck and nobody else has said anything, then I'm going to move on. But huge thank you to Texas Card House for allowing me to be here today, allowing me to live stream from here, and for existing in the first place. This is a really well-run company from what I've seen. And I mean, look, I'm an honest guy. The real answer is, you know that I think highly of something if I'm interacting with it. I am never going to interact with any brand that I don't think positively of. And that way I never have to lie, and I never have to worry about that awkward dynamic where I'm telling the truth in a negative way. So, yeah, thank you to Texas Card House very much. PK says, have you ever found someone cheating? Yes, many times actually. When I was a shift manager in Florida, there were a handful of times where different people, staff or players, believed that somebody was cheating, and I actually had to go to surveillance in order to investigate it, and confirmed it a lot. I saw people in the middle of a hand adding chips to their stack. I saw, one time somebody had folded, and another player grabbed the folded cards and mixed theirs with those cards and picked the hand that they want and still lost. I've seen all kinds of stuff like that, and they get kicked out every time you catch them. It really helps having poker knowledge when you're looking at surveillance footage because you know exactly what to look for. It's an interesting dynamic for sure. Gloria says, I'm going to visit. Thank you. Awesome. Sounds good. Well, I'll be here, and I'll have this mask on, and who knows, maybe I'll be dealing somewhere, maybe I'll be playing somewhere, maybe I'll be chatting and hanging around. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and for participating in the live stream. I'm going to jump off now and have some fun over here. So, yeah, if I see you, that's